Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Welcome to my card making for beginners series. I've covered an awful lot of ground in this series so far, and today we're going to take a look at some of our punches and how to use those effectively. Particularly, we're going to look at our label punches. So if you look at page 166 of the annual catalogue, there are from 165 to, how far do the punches go on? Oh, actually quite a long way because they include, so 169, you have a lot of punches featured, but oh yes, I have seen that one. On page 166, most of the label punches are here. So these are standalone label punches that cut out a fussy shape, a fancy shape, and most usefully, these can be used for putting sentiments on and mounting them on your cards. So we've got 4 down here and another couple up here, a very long thin one. I do have that one, so I haven't got that one out today. Got a banner one that you can do banners with, which I'm not going to cover so much today. But these ones are very, very helpful for putting a sentiment on your card. You can stamp a sentiment, you can punch it out and then mount it. You can either stick it straight on your card or mount it on dimensionals, and it just gives another little something to your cards rather than just stamping a sentiment straight onto it. But there are a few tips and tricks to using them, so I just wanted to go over those today to show you. So I've got several of these punches. I have that one, I have that one, I have that one. Don't have that one, but actually looking at it, I think I would quite like that one. That might go on my next order. I do have that one. I don't have that one. I do have that. I do have that. I do have that. Don't have that. Yeah, I've got most of our punches. I do have. I have to admit, I am a bit of a punch addict, and it is one of the things that I love most about Stampin' Up. Now these punches, they're all in this format where they store flat, so you can stack them on top of each other. I can't show you because I can't move my camera at the minute, but I have mine all in a unit. One day I'll do a tour of my craft room and show you how I store all my punches. They're very accessible, just to the side of my desk. All the ends are on display and they're all in separate shelves, so they're very easy to get at. So they're in that format, and you just slide out the catch. So to put it away, you push it together and slide that catch back, and then to open it, slide that catch that way and it will open up. So it's very, very useful storage tip that for these, because it does make it much easier to store them. They are quite heavy. The disadvantage of punches over dies is that they are so much more heavy and big to store. The advantage of them is they are so much quicker and easier to use, and you don't need a die cutter, of course, so they do have advantages. How do you use them for sentiments? Well, my recommendation would be that first of all you punch out your label out of a piece of cardstock or paper. So I'm just going to punch each of my punches out of this piece of paper. So I think that's called the Everyday Label Punch. I can't remember what they're called now. I'm sorry, I really can't remember what they're all called. I can't remember what this one is called. It's a lovely punch though, I love that one. This one is called the Label Me Fancy, I think this one is called, and this is nice, although it's a bit small. And this one cuts out, you can also cut it so you can make it into a tag by punching out a hole in it, and you can make it, you can use the slot to slot ribbon through. I'll maybe show you that in a bit more detail another day. It's a bit fancier, that one. And then this one, which is one of my favourites that I use quite a lot, is the tailored tag. So those are the ones we're going to look at today. So like I say, I recommend you would punch them out first of all, and then on a piece of cardstock or paper again, just put them away. I'm just going to find a scrap of paper, and I'm going to punch out the sentiment. I'm going to stamp out the sentiment that I want to use today. So I am going to take Happy Valentine's Day, because I've been making lots of Valentine's cards the last couple of days. So I'm going to take my Valentine's Day sentiment and I'm going to stamp it. Oh, this is my gorgeous grape, which appears to be a bit dry. Might need re-inking. A lot of my stamp pads suddenly all seem to need re-inking at the same time. Right, beautiful. I love this sentiment. Very nice. But what I would do then is take my cutouts and arrange them over. Would have helped if I'd done them in a different colour so you could see more clearly. Actually, let's just grab a piece of cardstock and do that again. This would make it much easier for you to see. Let's just punch them out again. Didn't think of that when I was doing it. So you could use this as your template. Generally, I tend to do it as I go and I need a punch, but it would be much more sensible to keep this and not have to keep doing it and wasting cardstock. I have an awful lot of scrap cardstock. My husband used to be a printer, and when we emptied out his, I'm going to do that one again, it's a bit near the edge. When we emptied out when his business went under in 2001, I think, and we had to empty his factory, and I ended up with loads and loads of cardstock, not Stampin' Up colours, but loads of scraps that I can use for various things, so I don't tend to be too economical with those. So I'm still 20 years later working my way through it. Right, okay, so what was I going to say? So take your template and put it over, and you can see how it would fit. So that would fit really nicely in that stamp, in that tag. So if you like the shape of that tag, you could use that one. Put it in that one. Looks okay. It's not quite big enough to my eye. You need quite a slightly bigger sentiment there, but it still fits perfectly. This is the Label Me Fancy, I think. It just about fits in that one, but it's a little bit tight. So you might decide that that one was a bit too tight. And then we get to this one. There we go. And that, to me, fits perfectly. I like that. It's the shape of the label echoes the shape of the sentiment, which I really like. I think that's a very pleasing. So that's the thing. So next week I'm going to be showing you, or next time, I'm going to be showing you how to make this card. And I have used the Happy Valentine's Day stamp on the tailored tag punch. And I'm now going to show you how to do this border around here so that you can make it even more special. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of Whisper White. Let me just grab a scrap of Whisper White. And we are going to punch. No, we're not. We're going to stamp. Keep getting my words muddled up. Just trying to find a decent sized scrap. Got a bag of scraps here. None of them seem to be quite big enough. So we're going to stamp our Happy Valentine's Day in Gorgeous Grape. I know I used real red on the card I just showed you, but I'm going to do a purple one now because my youngest daughter loves purple, and this card is probably going to be winging its way to her. There we go. I stamped around the edge of my stamp pad because that's where there's likely to be more ink. The centre of it is quite dry, so I'm going to have to re-ink that quite soon. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tailored tag punch, and I'm not going to punch. You can do it. You can go in there, and you can punch. But what I nearly always do, because I'm nearly always punching out a sentiment with them, is I go from upside down, and I centre my sentiment. And what you can do is you can close it, but you don't need to cut. So I've got it there, it's held, but I haven't punched anything yet. And I can just check that I think that's straight and that I think it's in the centre. And there. And there's my sentiment. Perfect. And then what I can do is take a scrap, doesn't have to be the same colour as your ink, although I quite like doing that, and punch out another tag. And then cut it in half. Now you can cut it both ways. If you cut it, oh actually I've not cut that quite close enough to the centre. Cut a bit off. I've got a blunt point there. Is this going to be big enough to fit on here? I do like to use a scrap of card up, but this might not be quite big enough. Nope, it's not going to do it. I'm going to have to grab another bit. Let's grab another bit of Gorgeous Grape. I missed the bottom corner there. That's better. Right, okay. So I could cut it this way, and then I would have edges like that. I could mount that on there and we could have the whole, almost a whole border. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it this way, so we'll just have a top and a bottom border. But this is a really lovely way of giving your punches like a shadow or an outline. So you just do that and then stick that on there. So just put a little bit of Tombow on here. And just mount that like so. Try and make sure you've got it straight and that these lines are all equidistant apart, and because you're using Tombow you can wiggle it a little bit if it's not quite right to start with. And then exactly the same with the top, and that will just give you a little bit of border, which just again adds a little bit of interest. And is very, very simple to do, and it's much easier to do it like this. Put the mat down and then bring your stamped label to it. I find that by far the best way to do it. But you might have your own ways of doing it. If you find an easier way, please feel free. And maybe let me know. Maybe I'll find that way easier as well. There we go. There we go. So that's like the punch, the stamp, the label, sorry, my words getting muddled, that I added to my card there. And this one, of course, is in Gorgeous Grape, but exactly the same. So I hope that's helped you to have a little bit of an insight into how to use our label punches. It's one of the ways you can use them. Of course, they've got lots of ways. You can use this one. You could do a tessellated pattern. You can punch out lots of these. I've done one before where I've fitted them all together to make like a tile pattern. You can actually stamp on them. You can stamp flowers on them. This one is quite a nice size to stamp. You could stamp a butterfly on there or a flower and then punch that out and add it to your card. Like I say, this one is a really nice one. So if I can find the offcut. So what you can do here with this slot here, you can slot the tag back in that you took out. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where I want that to be because it's quite difficult to see. So I'm just going to put a pencil mark where it's roughly in the centre and roughly where I want this to go, because then get it in the right bit. I can then label this, line that up. I can see my pencil mark through there and I can punch. There we go. I've got a slot there, which will be lovely. I'll show you in a minute. I'll grab a bit of ribbon in a sec. So I'm just going to mark this one as well. So this is a really versatile punch, this one, because you've got this alternative to add ribbon through it, which does give it a bit more life. So you've got it like that. Imagine it's in white because normally it would be. Let me just find a piece of ribbon. And what you can do is thread your ribbon through there. And this is not really the colours that you're going to want, but I'm just showing you. And this is really not quite wide enough, actually. Let me find a wider piece of ribbon. We need a wider piece. Oops. Let's use this. This is one of my favourite ribbons from last year. This is our Granny Apple Green. That's better. Just like, so again, not quite the colour scheme that I would go for, but I'm just doing this to show you. And I want the colours well contrasted. So you can thread that through, and then if this is your card blank, you can put that on there. How good does that look? That looks really nice. And you could have a little message on there. The ones from Touch of Ink would be good on there. The little messages, they're quite small and they would fit on that tag. So there's that. But also with that punch, you get a little dot. So what you can do, so with one of these, you could thread. So again, I'm going to mark where I want the hole to be. You could thread that through and then punch the little hole out. and then you've got a tag. You can put some ribbon through there, some thinner ribbon, and that turns that into a tag, and you can stamp your message and your patterns onto there. So this is a good punch for versatility, but all of them are lovely. So if you'd like to have a look at all the punches that are in our catalogue, just pop down to our my shop below and you can see all the punches. Like I say, best page to look at in the annual catalogue is page 166. But those are all the punches. Not all the punches, those are some of our label punches. So really a personal taste of which patterns, which fancy edges you like the best and which one you think you would get most use from. If you're like me, you more or less have to have all of them. But obviously cost and storage are two things to bear in mind, and so maybe one would be good. I think this is a good general all-rounder. Like I say, this one is good because it's got the two extra possibilities of making making it into a ribbon slider and a tag. This one I love. I just find that one suits so many occasions. I have to admit I love this one, but I haven't used it very much. It's not one of my most used punches, but I do like it. I must make an effort to get that one out more and use it. Anyway, that's it from me today. Don't forget to join me again soon when I will be showing you. I've already shown you how to make the tag on the front here, so I will be completing the rest of this card and just showing you that. But meanwhile, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget we've got Celebration on at the moment. Spend £25 and get a free item. No, £45, sorry, and get a free item. So your punch could go towards your £45 and then you can order something for free. You can choose something for free. That's it from me today. Thanks for watching and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.